Dale, I hear about this CFI loan. Can you tell me a little bit about that? What exactly is it?
Yeah, sure, John. CDFI stands for Community Development Financial Institution. It's a special designation from the U.S. Treasury that allows a lender or a mortgage lender to circumvent the ability to repay portion of the Dodd-Frank law from back a few years ago. So in our old style of loans, it is a no income verified asset loan for those that have been in the business for a while, like you and I have been. It is for owner occupied or for second homes, consumer purpose loans that are subject to TRID. The cool thing about it is there is no income on the 1003. There is no employment on the 1003, and therefore there are no ratios associated with this loan. It is a basically cash loan. You show me the money with enough reserves and I'll give you a loan. What I like to point out to everyone is, who is this loan for? I'm going to start off by saying who it's not for. It is not for the people that can't get qualified anywhere else because their debt ratios are too high, their income is too low, and they only are able to scrape together 5 to 10% for a down payment or get a gift. This loan is not for that borrower. The borrowers that this loan is for are for people that are self-employed, people that may have very high expense ratios and can't qualify with a more traditional bank statement loan. It may be for people that have high assets, but for whatever reason can't qualify. It's just too low. So say instead of having $1 million in assets, they quote unquote only have $500,000. Typically in today's high cost environment, that's not going to pencil out for them to debt ratio on, but it's more than enough to qualify on this CDFI loan. Another great example is owners of dispensaries. Since they are still subject to federal law and typically not able to qualify for any other type of mortgage, since we don't ask, they don't tell, and I close a lot of loans for dispensary owners. And the last one I'll say is people that work for gig type employment. So they work job to job to job to job, taking gigs, as they say today. Typically, you don't have that consistent cash flow that an underwriter likes to see in order to give them that feel good approval. With this loan, you just don't list it. And next thing you know, they've got plenty of money to be able to show for the reserve component, and we're able to issue an approval.
Awesome. Does it require 50% down?
Typically, it starts at 20% down, depending upon your scores, and works its way down. So for example, a minimum 660 FICO, it is a 65 LTV, so 35% down. A 680, I can go to 75, and then a 20, it's an 80%, so 20% down. It's typically in line with your traditional qualifying as far as 20% down. Where the differences as well come into play, on the low end, it starts at 12 months of reserves. And at the 80% LTV, because it is a little bit of a higher risk, does go up to 20 months of reserves. So typically I'm asked on this question, on this loan, what causes it not to fund? I submit the loan. How do I get it kicked out? Well, reserves is the biggest one. The program does not allow for gifts of reserves. So your borrower does have to be able to show the 12, 18, or 24 months of reserves required by the program. However, it does allow for 100% gift from a family member for the closing costs plus the down payment. Anytime your borrower has any type of asset, and the other great thing about this program as well, it's the only program I have that allows for a modular home, for rural property, or for a log home. All of my other programs, we don't touch those. But this CDFI, due to the nature of it being community development, will allow those types of properties.
And if I'm not mistaken, you guys are the only one currently offering this in the entire country. Is that correct?
At this point, yes.
Awesome. Pitfalls that a loan officer, broker may run into when selling this program, where do they make the mistakes?
Typically is not verifying enough of reserves. That's the only one that I ever see. Well, I say that. Sometimes it's condition of property, but that's going to happen regardless of what program you're looking at. So If you've got a program, if you've got an appraisal that isn't quite up, if the property isn't quite up to lendable standards, they'll get kicked out for that as well. But the biggest one is in the reserves, the reserve requirement.
And what's the seasoning on the reserves? Are you collecting 2 months bank statements? What are you collecting for the reserves? And does it have to be liquid?
30 days. It does not have to be liquid in the traditional sense. We do allow for stock, mutual fund, any kind of 401k or retirement assets. You can utilize 100% of those regardless of what your current age is. So most other programs, underwriting will only let you use a percentage of those programs based on the type of account that it is. So 10% or 90% if it's a stock or a mutual fund, or 70% if it's a retirement fund. Under this program, to help with the CDFI portion of it, we allow 100% of those assets. Again, they do not have to be liquid in the sense of they can be in a stock or any kind of investment account.
As far as getting approved with Champion Funding, what does that look like? How quickly can you do it? If I've got a client right now that I could use this program on, tell me, how do I get approved through you, with you, to be able to do business and write a loan on this?
Okay. We utilize Comergence. We send you an invite. You go in, accept the invite, start filling out the broker application. There are 7 or 8 items that have to be uploaded as part of your mortgage broker application: resumes, required insurances, etc. Once you get those submitted and into the system, it goes to our client approvals team. And at that point, usually within 24 hours. So I'll give you a quick example, John. I had one Friday afternoon that submitted and accepted the invite. He was approved this morning. So
Perfect.
yeah. So literally 24 hours.
Awesome. Well, this has been great info. Thank you very much. Anybody has questions about this program or anything at all, let me know.